Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another First Listen review. Today we're just getting done with a marathon run of Phil Lynott's Grand Slam, Slam Anthems. I say marathon run because it's 6 CDs, and it was definitely a cool listen. Obviously a lot of repeating songs on here and stuff, but it was one I was really looking forward to, and we got through the whole thing, and I actually liked it quite a bit. I'm like a huge fan of Phil Lynott and Thin Lizzy. I have a lot of the stuff already, but it was nice to hear it done the way it was done here. In case anybody doesn't know who Phil Lynott or Grand Slam is, I'll just give you a quick overview. Phil Lynott's obviously the founder, singer, songwriter, bassist for Thin Lizzy. And once Thin Lizzy was done, he formed Grand Slam. And unfortunately, they never really recorded an official studio album with Phil Lynott. That's another story here that I'll get to in just a sec. But they did do a whole bunch of demos, and they did do a lot of live shows, and a lot of that stuff was captured. Live. Some of it's been released already. A lot of the stuff has not been released. A lot of the stuff has been released. And it was basically, to be the quick rundown here, he formed this band with a keyboardist, and his name, I'm slipping out, Mark Stanway, had to look on the notes here. He formed this band like way back in '83 with, and this is a statement that he wrote, because there's been a whole lot of legal stuff going on between him and the guitar player that they brought on after John Sykes left. But he claims he formed the band with Phil, Brian Downey, John Sykes, and Doeshe Nagel. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but they formed the band Grand Slam together. John Sykes left to go join Whitesnake, which I'm sure everybody has known that one, but they got Lawrence Archer on guitar after that. It's from the band Stampede, kind of a, I don't know how you describe them, maybe a southern rock band-ish kind of thing, maybe. I've got one of their albums. I remember vaguely what it sounds like, but it's not one that I listen to very much. Good guitar player, don't get me wrong, but that's really all I know him from before this. And they went out on tour, did a lot of stuff, and apparently Mark Stanley has a whole bunch of cassettes of this, which he gave to Cleopatra Records to release this with. He said he had like 80 tapes he went through, and this is the best of the best. So, feel free to check out Cleopatra's site. I actually got this off of Bandcamp. I've talked about Bandcamp before. Love it, because all the money goes directly to the artist, although this is a record label page on Bandcamp, so I'm a little confused by that, because I thought this was all for independent artists originally, so maybe they've changed their ways a little bit, and have to look into that, because it's the second time I've seen this with a record label on there. And for whatever it is, I usually like this at a website the best, because you buy it direct from the artist. So I'm not really sure what the deal is with Cleopatra having their own page on here. It's a little strange, but also want to note real quick here that Lawrence Archer had Mark Stanley come in and record some stuff, keyboards on an album he released called Hit the Ground under the Grand Slam name, that I guess I don't know, that Mark never got any money from that, even though he played on it. He had a couple other members come in. Actually, Neil Murray actually played on that album too, and then a couple other people that I'm not too familiar with. So there's all kinds of legal stuff going on with this band. It just seems like it's kind of never ending. But anyway, getting into it, the first disc is the one I was looking forward to the most, because I'd actually, like I'd said, I'd heard all these songs before. Huge fan of Phil Lynott. I actually think he's one of the best lyricists and the storytelling type songwriters there is. I got into him a little bit late in the game. I actually didn't hear about, I knew Thin Lizzy, but it's not something I really listened to a lot, and something, I don't know, one day just kind of grabbed me, early 2000s, and I just started buying everything Thin Lizzy, and just kind of really fell in love with these guys, and I was kind of upset what I had missed all those years, but I really fell in love with his songwriting and his vocal style, his singing. I mean, he was really the first Irish rock star, and this is before, U2 was even known of. These guys are out there doing their thing, kind of. I don't know if they invented the dual lead guitar harmonizing type solos. I've heard a couple different stories about how that happened from them and a couple other bands. So, I know they're one of the first anyway, and a lot of people, took that blueprint and ran with it, and have had great careers with the blueprint these guys set up. So that being said, I know somebody else told me on one of my last ones I talk too much before I get to the actual review, but that's just kind of how I do things. I always kind of wing it. I don't have a script or anything I go by, so either you like the style or you don't, but hopefully you guys that stuck around this long. The thing I liked about the remixes is they are a little clearer. That there's some songs on here that sound like the remix didn't really do a whole heck of a lot for it. Thinking Harlem and I Don't Need This were a little still just, they sound like demos, which all these are, but a few of them I think were a lot closer to the finished stage, so when they remixed it, there wasn't really anything they do except mix it. The first song was kind of strange because the vocal part was all over as far as the level goes, and I thought it was kind of odd they couldn't fix that. The only thing I can think is maybe they couldn't because either they just didn't want to, they just want to leave it the way it was, rough in the studio like that, which kind of sounds like he was kind of making it up as he was going, Phil that is, or it might have been sharing a track with another instrument and they're just using it as a guide track, so they really couldn't do anything with it. I don't know, I'm just kind of guessing on that, but I thought it was kind of strange they didn't try to fix the levels a little bit with that, and there's plenty of stuff you can do, if you take the time, you can fix that kind of stuff. So maybe they just couldn't. I don't know. Most of the rest of that, Crazy is Still Think of You. Definitely mixed well. Crime Rate. I remember that song. I thought was kind of I know he was trying to make a statement with that, but the lyrics to that one are actually just odd. It's one of the maybe his weaker lyrics, even though I just said he was one of the greatest songwriters ever. That one seemed a little weak. Another Dedication ended up being used on a Thin Lizzy Phil Lynott tribute, even though this was actually written and recorded as Grand Slam. They had, I think it was Brian Downey and Scott Gorham come back in and re-record their own parts, and then re-release this as a Thin Lizzy song on that album. But anyway, I thought that was a little weird, but whatever, to get Phil's songs out there. I guess they did what they had to do. Now, Military Man is actually a song that he did with Gary Moore on one of his solo albums, Final Frontier, maybe. I can't think of the name of the album that was Gary Moore's. If one of you guys out there know, feel free to put that down in the comments. And then they got Look in These Eyes. Harlem was a great song. I always love that one. Sisters of Mercy is on here, great. And 19, you guys may recognize those songs. And Sarah. That's pretty much the remix, and then there's a whole lot of live stuff. And I will say the quality of the live stuff is pretty good, even though I said it was on cassette. You got Cerebro from 1983, you got Lifford from 1984. There's a short little set in here from London, 84. I think that one may have been something that was released before. Great Great Yarmouth in 84. And then there's just a bunch of live stuff. You're going to catch a lot of they did a few Thin Lizzy songs. I think there's like 3 mainly that they did throughout. They got Paracene Walkways, you got Cold Sweat in there, Whiskey in the Jar, even though that was kind of a remake, they made it their own. And you've got Dedication, if you want to consider that one a Thin Lizzy song in there. I think that's about it. So all that, if you like Thin Lizzy, they do have a few Thin Lizzy songs in the live stuff there, although Phil was very adamant about this not being a second-rate Thin Lizzy. He wanted it to be like a band all on its own. And it is. The songs are different. He obviously wrote them, so they're similar in style, but you can hear it's a little bit more mature stuff that he's trying to write. And then you got, track, or disc number 6, it's all the demos. And there's you got a Whiter Shade of Pale thrown in there with Like a Rolling Stone mixed in. and you got a couple other songs in there, were on the previous thing. So anyway, those are just kind of definitely demo sounding stuff. I'm going through this kind of quick, and I'm not going through each song because there's 6 CDs, and I'm almost at the 10-minute mark here as it is. But it's definitely, if you're a Thin Lizzy fan, if you like Grand Slam, you never heard of them, and you want to hear what they check out, this would be a good place to start with. I don't know, it's not that bad on Bandcamp. I think it was like $50 for the set, if I remember right, and there's a digital download. It was like half the price, so it's actually worth getting. I mean, $25 for 6 CDs worth of music, I don't think it's a bad deal at all, especially even if you're only a curious fan. But definitely well worth it to me. I'm not going to really rate this one because it wasn't really a studio album or an official live album. It is what it is. It's a bunch of demos remixed. It's a bunch of bootleg live stuff and a bunch of demos. But they really do sound clear. The levels are good. Everything's good. You put it in and it's not like it sounds like a bootleg listen. It's actually a good listen. So if you're kind of wondering about that, because there are several bootlegs out there, even Neil Young released one here not too long ago that was just absolute horribly sounded stuff. It sounded like it was recorded by somebody who had a cassette recorder stuck in their pocket, and they recorded the shows that way. It's not like that. I would hate to bust on Neil, but that's just an example. It doesn't sound like that. It's actually recorded well. I'm trying to get as much in as I can here because I don't want this to be too long, but it's kind of funny. There's a reason it's called Slam Anthems. That was actually one of the titles or names of the band they actually went through. They were going to call the band Slam Anthems, and they actually settled on Grand Slam, which is kind of a strange name too, but either way, it's my personal opinion. But band names are really hard to come up with. Sometimes you think you got a really cool one and they've already been used, so who knows what was going on there. But anyway, I'm not going to babble on too much more. If you guys have any Thin Lizzy, Phil, or anything connected type stories you want to share, what you think of the new Thin Lizzy, even if you want to share some thoughts on that, which I did not get into at all on this, feel free. And make sure you I'm trying to talk too fast to get through this as fast as I can. Make sure you share, subscribe, all that stuff I always ask for. And I appreciate everybody listening, especially up to the end if you made it this far, and we'll talk to you later. See you.